What are you gentlemen drinking?
Smooth. This is a dry cider from Threadbare. It's a little cider place and meadery. It's the Weigel whiskey. It's their cider house. It's fucking delicious.
It is.
It's really dry.
Have you partaken in any mead?
No. Oh wait, that's not true. I think they have flights, like cider flights, and I think one of them had mead once. I'm not a huge fan of mead.
Yeah, same.
I want to because it's very D&D.
Yeah. It's a drink from the fantasy realm.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to like it, and then I just couldn't get into it. So, but they have it, and I assume it's good because this is fucking delicious. And like I said, it's very dry, almost like champagne dry.
Oh, is that the same stuff you brought
to the beach?
To the beach?
Yeah, it's that same cidery.
Yeah, that's not delicious.
Oh,
it's not very sugary.
No, it's not sweet at all.
Yeah,
which is what I'm into.
I remember you brought that whole case, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I like cider ales. I'll give this a shot." And I took a sip, and I was like,
"No, sir."
No, that stuff is like you say dry, but that's like bone dry.
It's bone dry.
Like that is,
it's not refreshing.
No, not at all. You're like more thirsty after a sip.
Yeah, don't drink this if you're playing volleyball on the beach. it's like the anti-Coors Light. But I fucking love it. So yeah, I got a bunch of this. And yeah, that's what we're drinking now. What are you drinking, Greg?
Water.
Life water.
Life water.
You're drinking some seltzer too. What kind of seltzer were you?
Yeah,
Spindrift.
Spindrift is good.
Mm-hmm.
A real squeezed fruit. Yep, that's it.
I mean, it actually has a
raspberry lime
and calories.
Yeah, it's because it has actual juice in it.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I like the lemon one. It's probably my favorite. I really dig it.
Haven't tried it.
It's pretty good. I get it at Panera Bread.
Hey man, I like my Panera.
Hey,
sometimes you need an overpriced grilled cheese. You know,
I swear the prices went up, but it's just me. Like $14 fucking.
Are you a member of the Bread Club?
No.
Well, maybe you should join.
Does it save you money?
I haven't joined yet. But they always look at me like I'm an asshole every time I'm there, and I'm like, no. I'm like, oh, are you interested? No. Like, okay. Do I get a free apple every fucking month or something?
And original content online.
Yeah, sometimes I want like a $10 grilled cheese, you know, to dip in my $8 cup of soup and feel like I'm being healthy for my lunch break.
It's probably worse for you than like Taco Bell. Oh, look how healthy I'm being. This only has 3,000 calories in the soup.
You saw the meme with the mac and cheese, right? Yeah, that's where it's just in a packet, and the dude empties it into a thing, and they act like it's a scandal. But you're like, yeah, that's kind of what I expected. I don't think anyone's back there like, shaving cheddar,
right,
dish. You know, it's a fast food chain.
This isn't artisanal at all.
No, their broccoli cheddar is not vegetarian.
What?
Yeah,
I don't get
chicken
it.
stock.
Oh, those dicks.
This woman, and I much respect to her for doing this. I asked, I was like, is your broccoli cheddar, or I'm sorry, your broccoli potato or whatever the hell it is, cheddar broccoli, I don't remember what the fuck it is.
It's one of those two ingredients.
One of those things, yeah. It looked vegetarian on the menu, but it didn't have the V next to it. So I was like, is that vegetarian? She's like, I don't think so. It doesn't have the V. I said, right, that was my concern. I said, just curious, why isn't it vegetarian? And so she like asked these other two people near her. She asked her manager. Nobody knew. So she comes back with this fucking binder. It is a giant book of everything that they serve and the entire ingredients list for it. So like there's a line gathering behind me now, and I'm just like, oh my God, lady. Like it wasn't, you know, just I'll take your word for it. It's not vegetarian. But she's like flipping through the book, and oh, here it is. And then she's scrolling down through the ingredients. Chicken stock. I'm like, that'll do it. I guess that's why it's not vegetarian. Thanks. But it was just like, holy shit. It turned into like this giant like 10-minute ordeal.
Dude, that's fucking amazing to go through that much effort to not sell you something.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
I'm like, I'm already not going to buy it because I'm going to err on the side of caution here, and I don't want to get diarrhea for, you know, the rest of my days. But no, she went the extra mile.
For no money
For
whatsoever.
for nothing. No, I gave her a tip.
Oh, That's nice.
But
was it like the Necronomicon, like bound in human flesh?
could have been, dude. It was like a tome of just page after page.
Dust.
First time they've ever opened this.
The other employees didn't know it existed.
We'll get the good book.
Altar boys bring it out. Got candles and incense swinging.
Sorry, everyone, we've got to close this Panera for the next 3 hours. This ritual takes quite a while.
People wanted us to talk about our setups. I don't know if we want to do that or not. Could always do it another time.
Yeah, I feel like mine's always in flux. It's kind of hard for me to discuss what exactly is going on.
It's pretty stable now, too. I think yours is, too.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I have, and I don't think it's going to change for a while unless something comes out and is like makes me change my mind or replaces something that I already have. But no, I like what I have.
I'm super fucking stoked on my modular lately. It is definitely the most satisfying that it's ever been. I don't know. It's like 13 modules, and I love it more than anything I've ever had.
Well, it sounds like you. That's a good segue for you to just describe it. What's going on?
Yeah. So I got two things lately. The Bugbrand Crossover Filter, which I really fucking like, and the Pittsburgh Voltage Lab, which I'm surprisingly happy with. And I'll go into that. I'll start with the crossover filter, which I didn't really fully understand until I got it. Because the cool thing about that, it's like a dual filter with resonance. And the Bugbrand filters sound really fucking good to me. They're like nice and liquidy. I don't know. There's something about it that I really like. You can get acidy stuff that the DRM2 really kind of highlighted for me. Because that thing is an acid box as well as a percussion box, really. Kind of secretively in a way. But the crossover filter has 3 band outs. That's the whole thing. He was like, oh yeah, people make like stereo crossover setups for like subwoofers and car stuff. He's like, why don't I play with that? I'm like, that's cool. I can think of processing ideas like taking the low and the mids and the high out. Well, the coolest thing about it, I didn't realize this, is there's another jack that's the mix out to the right of it that sums all of those. And then when you take the levels for each of those bands, so you can basically have a filter sweep, but as it goes into the mids, it's much louder, or you can just negate all the lows altogether or boost the highs. And so you can get these like really like fucking bulbous, I guess, in a way, like sweep through the filter and it's like lots of lows, some mids and a little highs, or like the opposite. And you can CV that like the cutoff responses to it. And it's really super interesting to me. I love the way it sounds. I immediately sold my Twin Peak filter from Epoch Modular, the Rob Hordyke filter, which I liked, but has always been kind of a weird configuration to use, the way like you crossfade both the signals, and it's got like it's just kind of awkward to do it, and you can get to some dead spots. And he kind of even referenced that filter, and it's like, oh, you can't really, like, this is a little more easy to play, and it is, and it's got 2 huge like filter knobs.
Do you have control over the bands themselves? Do you have like the Q value?
Good question. You don't right now, but he has a passive expander that's coming out that's kind of small. It'll be pretty inexpensive. And in that case, you just have 2 separate stereo filters. And then you have separate voltage control over the cutoff and the resonance for each one, and then patchable outputs for each one. So you can take the stereo processing even further. Because right now it kind of sums it to a mono signal, even though you've got 2 filters, and there's like a parallel and serial switch, kind of like an access virus if you've used that. So it's like really flexible, super easy to use, and I definitely really dig it.
Does it have any like saturation capabilities?
Yes,
Nice.
It does have some built-in. The way his standalone boxes work, there's always a drive on the input, and that thing can get really nice. Now the DRM2 has saturation types on the output. It's like folding and saturation, and that's cool. I wish he would have put that on the cutoff too, but it would have just been a bigger, different module. But yeah, it can get nice and nasty or really clean.
When I had the PT delay for a while, I overdrove the hell out of that input a lot. It sounded really good.
Yeah, so again, another very satisfying Bugbrand purchase. Tom Bugs fucking kills it for sure.
And this has like CV? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now you get just CV over each cutoff for each filter, but that expander will give you the resonance too. So it's really just 4 inputs. It's not, 2 right now, then another 2, but it's definitely enough. And just the sound quality is super pleasing to me too. Nice and rubbery kind of filtering.
There's like no onboard modulation, right?
No, nope. You gotta. So I have it hooked up to the DRM2, and then I have that converter box. So I've been sending it voltage from the voltage lab, those slope generators on there, which I like, and just the DRM2 envelopes, and then Zadar, of course, because Zadar is always fucking with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that bully that's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, man. I'm gonna fucking fuck your voltage inputs up. No, that thing, again, we've spoken about that ad nauseum, but it never gets old. Love the Zadar. Been especially digging the LFO modes on it lately, which I think we talked about last time, but it's still true.
Yeah. It sounds almost what I've been looking for in a filter bank lately. You know what I mean? Like if he would just blow that out a little bit more, offer like some onboard like envelope followers and like
That would be nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe a saturation on the output or like a subdivider circuit or something like that where you could just kind of turn it into not just a filter but like a all-in-one self-modulating mangler unit.
It's weird because he's been releasing the blue modules and he's been really quiet about it because he's just trying to serve the people that are trying to build those frames.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of even hidden on the site. He never announces it like the red ones. So the intent is kind of that you would get these things and then like, oh yeah, you want like a dual shift register? I've got that module now. Or like envelope. I don't think he has an envelope follower, but he's kind of trickling that stuff out. And I'm not trying to get into the blue modules because it's even harder to get than LZX stuff or like some other boutique stuff where it's just like good luck. It's hard enough to get the red ones, but I think it's one of those things where he'll work with you. Like I know I'm gonna get one of the frames, like the cases he makes for the modular, but just to put I want 2 different configurations of all the red shit I have. I want the DRM2 and the crossover filter and one of the PEQ filters in a box and then the compressor. Oh, that's right. Actually, I want the compressor and 2 PEQs, and then the Bugbrand filter, the expander, and the DRM2, like 2 separate little portable mini skiffs. And that'll be pretty sweet.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, like one stereo processing and one just kind of like all his sound generation stuff that I have.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is. It's really enjoyable stuff to use. It's never cramped. I like banana jacks. I didn't realize the other day, like they don't click when you insert them. There's never like, in Euro, like with the jack, it'll make a click. With banana, it's real subtle. You can actually just kind of sit it there on top of it and modulate, like touch it and it'd be like, oh, do I like that modulation? Yeah, put it in. If not, just pull it right out.
A lot of the circuit bent stuff I've owned over the years has all been banana. Like the BPMC mixer, that was all banana jack. The circuit bent Kawai drum machine I had, that was all banana jack too.
I forgot about that.
I missed that thing a lot. I had that thing and I had the circuit bent Radio Shack reverb. And that was like a powerful combo and I miss it. I auctioned them off as like Kickstarter rewards back in the day when we were doing the fundraiser for the Prometheus album, Displacement Disorder. And I've kind of been kicking myself in the ass for doing that ever since. I was like, yeah, this will be a great reward. And it was like people enjoyed it. And now I'm like, fuck. Like, why did I give it away?
Well, you know who has it. So
yeah. I mean, I could look them up.
Take a little trip.
Yeah.
Smash their window.
Hopefully they're a fan of this podcast and are listening right now.
And the dude that did those bends doesn't even exist anymore. I forget who it was. It was like Alien Tech or something like that. Or Alien Devices. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't even bend things anymore. But that was some like top-notch stuff, man. Like, especially that Radio Shack Verb. Like, that was probably one of the best distortion boxes I ever had. Like, that thing would just get so nasty.
Did he ever put out the schematics of his bends?
I don't think so.
Because it'd be cool to just be able to make your own.
Yeah. But it was a very specific model of it. It was the metal version and had like, it was like a really nice case.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
You had one of those?
Yeah,
too?
yeah. Okay. I didn't have it bent. It was something I had intended to bend. I was like, I don't want to fuck this up. Because whenever I was bending stuff, it was always like, well, I could fuck this up, so I'm going to go get a $5 toy.
Sure.
And start from there. But this was like, I was getting use out of it.
I haven't been able, I was tempted to try and do my own bends with one of those, but I can't find one of those anymore. The only ones I find are like the really cheap plastic ones. Yeah, those are kind of ass. They were never that good to begin with.
No, and they don't sound good even just out of the box.
Right. I don't know what the difference is between the two, but there's definitely something more than just the box. Like there's some different circuitry going on in the metal ones. Yeah, the dude even said it when I bought it. He's like, this is a a rare version of this. You know, he said he blew it out with like every bend possible.
He's like, you really want to hold on to this? Don't just give it
this
away.
Is a priceless, one of a kind device.
Cool. I'm listening, man. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give this away.
I just hope it's in a good home. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But yeah, Banana Jacks. That's what it
Banana
had,
Jacks.
if I recall.
And what doesn't have Banana Jacks is the Voltage Research Lab, which I won't go super in depth to. If you want to know what it does and see the specs, you can search it online. But I'll highlight on some of the things I like. Also, you're not going to get one. Go.
Oh, I was going to say, one place to start might be talk about your expectations first.
Oh, yeah. So I went there one day to Pittsburgh Modular and played around with it because I looked at it and was like, okay, this looks interesting to me. You know, it's got this oscillator that I don't quite understand. It's all Michael Johnson design, basically. And Richard, helped with the design, but it's Michael's circuits. It's his beast, basically. And I played with it there, and I was getting some sounds that I didn't expect. And I was like, oh, that oscillator, like, I could see using this for some music. It wasn't, they had their microvolt, and I was not a fan of that when I used it personally. There's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't sound like what I wanted it to sound like. I didn't like the design.
And they had that big Lifeforms voice.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like that was another one that I saw that and I was like, oh, this is cool, and I was like, there's nothing really distinct or unique about it.
Right. So I went there to use it, and I was kind of into it, and I realized I wasn't as into the touch keyboard because it's like a 2, if not 3-part thing. There's like the case, the module, the touch keyboard, and then there's the output module you get for free. And I was like, okay, don't really want the case. Like the touch keyboard isn't my thing. And they kind of modeled it after a Bugla music easel. They're like, we're going to make an affordable version of this with our own stuff. And I'm like, cool. So I got the module. There's Kickstarter. All the panels got messed up. They had to get it redone, delayed it by almost a month or something and some change. So that sucked for them. But I got it and realized very quickly it's all about the dual oscillator on there. So the whole secret sauce is that Michael Johnson came up with a way to, quote unquote, wavefold high harmonic signals, without making it sound like shit, with just pure noise. So he found a way to kind of zoom in on the waveform from what I remember him and Richard saying, and fold that stuff. So it's got multiple stages. There's a lot of circuitry. It takes 450 milliamps of power. It's
Holy
a beast.
shit.
It's an absolute beast.
And it's entirely analog?
Yeah, it's all analog.
Wow.
One thing I really like about it too is that it's not normal at all. You have to patch everything on it, which is cool because it's like, oh, I've just added 2 slope generators, 2 filters, and this dual os to my modular that I can, if I'm not using it in the patch, I can use it for other stuff, which is cool instead of something that's like, oh yeah, that envelope's triggering because it's getting a gate.
Right.
So it's all about the dual oscillator in short and that wave folding stuff, and I've been getting sounds out of it that I just can't explain and haven't been able to expect, and that's where the magic is, in my opinion. The filters you can buy as a module, and they're okay. It's
are they the same as the other Michael Johnson designed filter?
That impulse filter where he simulated a low pass gate without Vactrols, and it's cool. It sounds good, but it's the dual oscillator is just kind of the magic to me. The slope generators are cool. It amazingly has blue LEDs that don't make me want to throw it off a cliff. It is.
That's a first, man.
It is. You know me. I've talked about this before in my blue LED thing, but these don't bug me. And I like that it's black. It's not the beige kind of style that they were doing, which never. It's a dark module, and I'm just impressed with how much I have been enjoying it, and using the MIDI interface because I just take my MIDI box to the hair mod module now to that, and you can do all sorts of shit with it. So
now, if they ever just released the oscillator part, do you think that would be worth it? Or
I think they should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they've got a number of oscillators, even analog oscillators over the years, and they had that complex one because I remember it had the very strange blade.
Oh, the double helix.
Yeah. Because I don't know if I really want to get all that other stuff necessarily.
Yeah, I think about that often when I use it. I'm like, oh, they claim that they're probably not going to make any more. It was a Kickstarter. They made what they made. It was successful. They made, it completed it, and they're like, I don't know if we're going to keep making these. But I think they should do the dual oscillator. I think it's worth it. I think it's kind of just some Michael Johnson brilliance in there for sure.
Yeah.
It just sounds great, period. Outside of that, I don't really give a fuck who made it in a way, but I like the sounds from it. I don't see myself getting rid of it.
Yeah. I think I got a little disheartened after the microvolt.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, not that to write them off entirely, but I was just like,
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that they're still coming up with interesting ways to make that happen.
That's what I thought too. I didn't really expect to get much more analog stuff at all. But those two, the filter and that module, I'm definitely psyched on for sure. And I've got more wavetable stuff than anyone should have at this point, which I'm not mad at.
I've been clearing space to make room for more of that.
Oh, anything particular that you got your eye on?
Yeah, the Hydrasynth.
Wait, clearing space like on your desk.
Yep, that's what that big hole there is for.
See, I thought you meant clearing space in your rack.
I'm kind of welcoming not needing to clear up space in my modular for something for once. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what? I can have all this outside of my rig finally.
Yeah. And you've got all this table space now. You can fucking use it. Spread out.
I'm not used to it, so I haven't spread out yet.
Right. You're all cramped up.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Spread your wings and fly, Greg.
Yeah.
Can you get that thing yet?
No. And it got delayed.
Could you have gotten it at NobCon?
No.
Okay, because it seemed like the one I was using and playing with was ready to go.
It fucking worked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was, and it was not like prototype case. It was like
people have them.
like review models and shit.
Yeah, supposedly, and like there was a lot of people on the forums kind of upset about this because like a lot of people got some who did, I guess, to do like demos or presets, whatever. Like Nick at Sonic State, for example, he had one months ago. Did a full-on review, and like at the time when people were doing these initial reviews, they were saying it was supposed to be out like now. Like I think early November was like the tentative deadline. And then they shipped it, or then they bumped it up to late December. And now people are saying that they don't think they're even going to get it before the turn of the year. Oof. Yeah.
Is there any? I've not been following it. Have the manufacturers been talking about what the delay is or what's going on?
There was a lot of speculation on the forums that I've been seeing, but I didn't see anything like official.
It's a little weird to be that quiet, especially when you're like a small new company. And
I know Daniel Troberg of Electron left Electron, took a hiatus, and then became the VP of the Hydrasynth company.
Oh yeah.
So he kind of runs engineering at least, or something like that.
Have they done anything previously? They're called like AMS, right?
Yeah, I don't think they've done anything
I have
else.
the name here.
This is
I'm sorry, ASM.
ASM.
Yeah,
I think it's a Chinese company making its first gear or something like that.
Interesting. I mean, it definitely has my attention. Like I kind of stuck my nose up at it at NobCon, you know what I mean? Like it was right across from like the Waldorf booth. And I was like, who are these amateurs?
I did not. I walked over and played with it. It was fucking astounding.
Yeah.
It sounded good. And it was also like, I started playing with it and I grokked it in a couple of seconds. I genuinely thought they were for sale there. I left with the idea of looking it up later.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have had the same impression over the last few months, like the way they've been promoting it and, you know, the date that was out there and the fact that people had some of the review. A lot of people bought them thinking they would be out in a month. And so far it's been months now. And possibly a few more. So I'm a little bummed to buy that, but
I think it might be something worth waiting for.
Yeah,
just from the experience I had, and then seeing other videos of it. If they put it together well and basically stick to the design that they had in September, fuck yeah, there's a ton of good stuff in it.
What's it run?
$799 for the desktop.
No shit.
Yeah, dude,
that's not bad.
Less than half the price of like a TI Virus or a Waldorf Kyra.
Wow. I would have thought
it sounds very comparable.
I would have guessed like $1,400 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
The keyboard version I think is $1,200, which is still cheaper than your average Virus. You know what I mean? Things like that. But
the Jupiter XM is like $1,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the desktop has keypads, like all the pads that are on the front. I think it has 28 pads or something, 28, 24, something like that. And you can put it in keyboard mode and sequence that way. You know, I was like, that's pretty cool.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
That was one of the main selling points for me. Plus, I saw it has CV inputs.
Yeah.
And all that jazz. I'm like, okay, I can definitely integrate this with the modular. You know what I mean? It's just going to be like an external giant wavetable oscillator for me, you know? And it's got, like, each part is 3 oscillators, which is pretty cool. And each oscillator has 219 waveforms. And then there's 5 ADSR envelopes.
Damn.
Yeah, there's all kinds of effects, 4 different reverbs, 5 different delays, chorus, flanger, rotary, phaser, lo-fi, tremolo, EQ, and compressor.
I mean, it sounds like they kind of went for the virus. Virus has 5
Exactly.
envelopes,
Yeah.
all those effects.
Yeah.
They're like, Access isn't going to do it. They might as well. It probably is going to work, you know?
Yeah. I mean, every demo that I've listened to so far sounds great. The only criticism I've been seeing really is that it's an unknown company for the most part, and a lot of people are saying it's just a VST in a box, but it's like, so's the virus. You know what I mean? So's most Waldorf stuff. Like, as long as it sounds good, you know, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, it's like, and I don't want to be in the box, so having something outside of the computer that can function like something in the computer isn't a downside to me. You know what I mean?
It's somebody made mention the other day, and this is related, that the Waldorf Quantum, they're like, do you think that's more than just an iPad in there?
Right.
Because it is like, it's a touchscreen. It's not an iPad.
Sure.
But like, maybe that's all it is.
It's a fucking VSC in a box with a touchscreen. But I mean, interface is important. I don't know. I prefer to have everything laid out, you know, and it doesn't look that menu divey. The desktop version,
no. It was not at all. I mean, there was a couple of things that like you would dive, but it was maybe 1 or 2 deep.
Yeah, I thought the Cairo was slower to get started when I was demoing it than the Hydrasynth, where it was like, oh shit, there it is.
Yeah.
And on the opposite end, the more Kyra samples and videos I hear, the less I'm into it.
Really? The Hydrasynth has less polyphony than like the Kyra and the Virus, but it has more than I need. You know what I mean? It's like 8-part.
Oh, it's 8-part?
Yeah.
Nice. That's what I care about more than the polyphony, you know, as long as I can get a couple voices out of each. Hell, even just one sometimes.
So what else was on our list?
Industrial Music Electronics.
Yes.
Bionic Lester MK3.
Oh, yeah.
Part 2.
Nothing but praise.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. I got rid of I think we both did. I mean, I got rid of a Polaris.
I got rid of 3 Polaris.
All right, you win. It wasn't a contest, but you win. And I don't regret it for a second. I seriously don't miss it, the Polaris at all. The Bionic Lester MK3. It has 8 presets. It's dual filter, multi-mode, digital filter.
I was just burping. I'm just covering.
It seriously looks like you're about to throw up. They're like, oh god, he's just
trying to be polite, Dave.
And you can have it either in serial, A going into B. You can have A controlling both A and B, with B the cutoff is an offset of that. There's just a stereo, and so each of the inputs have their own gain. If you go past 12 o'clock, you start going into overdrive, which sounds fucking astounding. Mm-hmm. Like a huge fan of that. The resonance is super tweaky, especially when you get up into, I think it was you, Nick, who said last time that he had added last minute the comb and all pass.
Yeah.
It fucking sounds amazing.
Is it about bandpass?
Yeah.
Nice.
And you can sweep between them, and that's CVable.
Ooh. Oh, between the types you can sweep. That's hard.
And they're not discrete, so you're kind of like morphing between them.
Yeah, it's morphing.
Yeah. That's, I guess I overlooked the morphing aspect of this, is that you don't just sort of go from one mode to the next discreetly. It's a smooth, weird blend, and sending that CV and just letting that sort of like go through the different modes. Fucking great. And it's got a screen for, you know, enough stuff for you to save presets, load presets. Yeah. And it gives you like a pretty quick overview of where you're at, a little bar for resonance and where the frequency's at.
Oh, that's cool. Now, does a preset, like with a preset, are you presetting between morphs, or does a preset contain like a morph?
A preset locks in exactly what the parameters are at that time, and you can make multiple presets and then CV morph through the presets. Yeah.
And while you're doing that, still have control over the knobs. Yeah. So as you're morphing and doing all of this stuff, you can still then keep tweaking. Now at that point, at least from my experience so far, I don't, this is relatively new. It's chaos when you're doing that, but I'm pretty sure like if you spend some time and really like you can dial in something pretty musical with it.
Yeah, Yeah, you said pretty much the basics that I had jotted down for it too. I've been enjoying the shit out of it since I got it.
Oh, is it like smooth the morphing?
Yes. Like he was saying, like it's not like you're in low pass now or now you're in band pass like on the Polaris. There's this weird nebulous realm between the modes where it kind of fades in from like a low pass to a band pass to on and on. Yeah, the modes in this order, because I jotted them down, goes from low pass to band pass to high pass to notch to all pass and then comb as the final domain. Yeah. And honestly, like the comb filter, I know it was like a last minute addition that he mentioned. I feel like he really broke some new ground with that. Like it's it's amazing. Like the dimension that it can go through. You know what I mean? From like super tight, like car plus type stuff to like almost delay territory. You know what I mean? It's pretty wide range on the comb mode. And the comb filter has two types of feedback too. It's got the negative and the positive. And when you have it all the way to negative, it kind of like stops. So you can almost use it as like a weird VCA almost. Huh. Yeah, it's really weird.
But it's this weird sort of like squashed feeling. Like it doesn't have like a VCA where you just turn the volume down. It feels like you've just like
you've suffocated a flame, and then you take the lid back off and it just kind of springs back to life. It's just like
that was the perfect description, because that is how it feels. And then you just sit there and like you just start patching modulation into it, and there's a ton of modulation, like all of the spots that you would want, and including, like Greg said, the preset. This is A+.
I love the layout of it. When I saw it, I'm like, oh shit, you can look at it and just like, all right, I get kind of how it works. He really simplified it compared to some of his earlier stuff, because I know the Mark II is definitely a lot different. But the Bugbrand Crossover Filter and that dropped on the same day, and I was definitely conflicted. I'm like, I got to move on this. Like, if I want this filter, I got to do it now because they're sold out.
Yeah.
And I went for that, but there were a few moments where I'm like, I heard this, I saw the demo, like, and I knew you guys were going to get them, so I was like, all right, I'll just wait to see what they're going to say. And
sorry if we're making that conflict even worse. Hey. Even the the preset manager, it's a tiny screen, and you got to like push the button down and then hit the other button to like do the secondary menu. It's pretty intuitive.
Yeah, you can definitely disregard the screen altogether if you want, but it is nifty. I've noticed like a few touches too, like it'll light up whenever you like have the feedback all the way off on the comb filter, and then it'll kind of turn on whenever you reach that certain threshold, and things like I don't know, it's nice, you know what I mean? Like it's a nice touch, it doesn't need to be there. It's nice that it is there.
I guess at the beginning, before we started recording, I made the comment that if you're looking for something clean, I couldn't find a clean filter in that. I'm not looking for that, so it's not a big deal. Greg, you disagreed.
I mean, I feel like it gets pretty clean. Like it has from 0 to 12 is the clean territory.
On the gain, you mean?
Yes. On the gain, on the input. Yeah, they're digital VCAs. From 0 to 12, it's kind of clean. The minute you go past 12, a little indicator will pop on the screen, and that designates that you've entered clipping. And it starts out in soft clipping, and then like around, I think like, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock, you start hitting hard clipping. All the way till it's maxed out. It's an interesting type of saturation. You know what I mean? It's definitely digital. It doesn't sound like an analog amp. You know what I mean? It's definitely like a digital crunch, but it's not muddy either. Like it seems like a lot of headroom in there, and it's still clean even at its like max, you know what I mean, position.
Yeah.
It's still, you can still tell what the source material is. And depending on where you are in that saturation range and what mode you're in and what your resonance is at, it behaves differently. You know what I mean? It kind of sounds like it's just breaking apart, but it's stable. And there's no clicking either. Like it even says it in the manual, like it's the type of digital VCA where there's like
the
zero cross.
Points yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, it sounds good even when it's at its like nastiest. I know that's not clean.
I guess for me, I was talking clean in the sense of like I went from a Polaris to this. You're right. The multi out on the Polaris always had some character to it. Like there was always something, but there was always that clean option. If you just wanted to use a filter in an almost like scientific academic way, a Polaris would work. Like you could do the sort of like clean cuts. And this, I was like, even when I had the gain below 12, still felt there was always just like that little bit of teeth to it. Which I don't think that's a downside, but a listener who's on the fence about it and wants also that option, this may not be the filter for them.
I feel like almost all the IME modules have that kind of like noise to it. You know what I mean? Even at its cleanest state, there's always that like the piston, for example, always has that like that breath to it. You know what I mean? Even when you're doing something clean.
The Andor had the same thing.
Yeah.
Even if you had just the VCA and you weren't using the digital,
the Mark 1.
The Mark 1, yeah. I'm sorry, I was talking about the Mark 1. If you were just using the VCA without any of the digital envelopes, it was noticeably different than like a VCA that was trying to go for like this perfect, pristine sound. It always had just a little something to it, which I loved. I thought it was great.
There was a way with the buttons to actually make it cableless to go in series.
Oh, shit.
Wait, to go in series? Wait, what do you mean?
Like A through B.
Yeah, that's there's the A control, then the series control, and then the stereo control. And you had the little thing, and that's what the link mode link button is. Yeah.
Oh, it does stereo.
Yeah, if you link them, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
But
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I didn't know that. I was patching the output of A into the input of B. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And like doing it manually. I didn't realize.
I read the manual.
Yeah, I didn't. I did not.
Yeah. I thought you meant there was a hidden mode that I didn't know about.
No, I just mean like
that would be cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something hidden in there. I kind of wish, like, I have no complaints about it. I think it's great. But I do miss a couple things about my Polaris that I could do with like just the changing of the poles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the steepness of it. This being a digital filter, I kind of wish he would have built that in there because it seems like that could be possible. You know what I mean? I know you can stack the two and go into 4-pole mode, but it would be nice to just be like able to hit a button for each filter and have it go through like 2, 4, 8, poles, whatever.
Right.
Increase the steepness of it.
So it's 2-pole 12
for each one.
Yeah, for each one, unless you stack them.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of my only minor critique of it so far. But yeah, I'm definitely digging it. And it's just a nice change of pace. You know what I mean? You get kind of used to like the same type of analog filterness, and then all of a sudden you have something that's like digital and crunchy and strange. You know?
Yeah.
And the comb filter, like I was already sold on it at KnobCon before he even introduced that. You know what I mean? And like having one now and playing with that mode, it's like holy shit! Like he could have just showed me that mode, and I probably would have bought it. You know what I mean? Like I can see myself getting a lot of use out of that as like a strange mangler.
What do you get CV over? You get CV over the cutoff
resonant. Well, so the CV1 is always cutoff.
Yeah.
And then CV2 and 3 are assignable.
Yeah. Oh, nice. You can route them wherever you want.
Yeah. Which is super nice.
Honestly, like that little filter bank module that I got, I kind of want a few more of those for utility purposes. Like they're cheap and you can get more surgical with it,
For our listeners at home, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know what the fuck it is.
It's got the phase symbol on it.
Yeah, I can look it up. I got it on Reverb.
Oh wait, that's not the Animal Factory one.
No,
because I saw you. Okay,
it's in between the Animal Factory.
Oh, okay,
but it's not.
I really was intending that to be a smoother segue. I was not putting you on the spot. So wait, when you ordered it, did it have a name?
Yeah. I just don't remember what it was. It was
okay.
It was one of those things where like I just hopped on Modular Grid and I was like, I want the small filter bank, and I started looking through them and most of them were not small at all. Most of them are fucking gigantic, and I was like, that kind of defeats the purpose. I could just keep a Polaris or something, So I wanted to find something that was comparable in size, but like also not real expensive or nothing all that crazy. I just wanted a straight up, multiple bandpass filters that I could get a little surgical on certain things with. And I stumbled upon that thing and I was like, I don't know what this is. Googled it, saw a couple like results about getting kits for it, and found one that was available on Reverb. So I was like, all right, and I just jumped on it. You know, it wasn't that expensive, so I was like, you know, I'll take a leap here. Right. And so far I'm digging it. It's not like the Surge Resonant EQ or anything nearly that nice sounding, but it does what the trick.
What do you imagine yourself using it for? Were you to keep it?
Feedback patching.
Okay.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Which is also what I did with the Resonant EQ.
I was gonna say, holy shit, you don't have the Resonant EQ anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't justify the size anymore, dude.
It's a big boy.
Yeah. For what I was doing with it, I was like, this is way too much rack space. So I parted with it once again. I'll probably regret it again.
You can get them.
Yeah.
I have one that I still haven't built.
Really?
Yeah, the random source kit.
Yeah. That's smaller, but even that one's still fucking big too,
It's pretty big. It's
compared
at least
to
20 HP, I think.
Like, I think that one is like 8 HP.
That looks like 8.
Yeah. But I know this is kind of like completely useless to the listener. I'm not even telling them what it is. So, but
we should say that there's a logo on the front that looks like a knot sign.
A phase symbol.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I can probably find it on. To get us back on track, while we were discussing this, I looked up the module name.
Thank God.
We'll segue back in.
What is it?
They'll never know. I don't know how to pronounce it. Antumbra Bank.
Oh. I thought so. That's the dude who makes the mini elements and the mini clouds.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The mini marbles with the tiny mini pots, which just okay.
Yeah, which I wish I could get into. But
yeah,
every time I look at them, I'm like, that's just way too cramped. Like, one reason why I like marbles is
see that.
Yeah, and the elements too. Like, holy shit, that would be such a mess.
It's like a grid of mini pots up top. It's
not interested.
Like a rough ride.
Nah, I'll just do without if that's my only option.
How long have you had this?
2 days.
Oh, this is brand fucking new.
Yeah, brand new.
Oh,
it was just an impulse buy. Mm-hmm. Nothing fancy. I didn't even plan on talking about it really because I haven't really dove into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nothing fancy, and the build is kind of a little bit jankety on some of the pots. But I don't know if this was a pro build directly from them or if this is somebody's personal kit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, quality could be a little bit better, but
you're not worried about it, are you?
Not really. You know, it's working. You know, I've tested everything. I've tested all the frequencies and already started doing some feedback patches through it and things like that. So it's doing the job.
Cool.
Not something I would recommend, though.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I feel like there needs to be a better option for something like this still with CV functionality.
I was going to ask, it doesn't have CV, does it?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's like an amplified input, a flat input, a mix out, a low band out, and a high band out.
But for feedback, I could see. I could see the joint there. But.
Now I do see that it's between 2 Animal Factory modules.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what's up with those?
What's up with those was like something I ran into completely on accident. So I was like digging through different filter banks and distortion stuff because I was like, I kind of want to build a new network of like filters and distortion. You know, like I kind of had a sound in my head and I was trying to think of a way to multi-layer destroy audio like I used to do with software, but try to replicate that now in the modular.
Like homicide style kind of.
Yeah. Like I used to create like weird chains of like using multiple instances of like homicide in conjunction with like compressors and, you know, EQs and shit. Multiple multi-band EQs, you know what I mean, to just saturate specific bands, kind of like we were just talking about with your Bugbrand filter. That was like one of my tricks, you know what I mean, was to just like stack EQs and distort certain frequency ranges, cut out everything else, and then layer that up with other shit. At the time, it sounded good to me. Over the years, listening back on some of that, I'm like, yeah, the software did not distort nicely. You know what I mean? It was kind of shitty. But the concept is still something that I would like to achieve. So I'd like to try to figure out how to do it with hardware. So I was just looking into new distortion modules and things that kind of slipped under my radar. And I saw a picture of one of the Animal Factory modules, and it just caught my eye, like the design of it. I was like, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. I have no idea what that is. So I started like reverse engineering it to figure out, who made it. Eventually I was able to match the artwork with a pedal. And I was like, okay. So then I found the website for Animal Factory Amplifiers. I was like, okay, these guys have been making, well, it's a guy, I should say. He's been making pedals for a few years now. Recently got into making modules back like last year, 2018, I think was his first modular run. And he's slowly converting all of his pedals to modules, but he didn't want it to just be a port. He wanted to bring it to modular, but also make sure that like all the sound was intact and also offer CV over everything that didn't exist in the pedal format. And I was like, okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to get some more like info on who he is, who the company was. And I found a Schneidersleben workshop demo video on YouTube where he's just like demoing a few of his pedals and talking about them in length for like an hour and talking about how his influences are all from like industrial background. He listened to Coil, Throbbing Gristle, Neobotan, and all this stuff. And he was saying like back when they first got internet, he's based in India. I don't remember if I said that or not, but yeah.
No, you did not. No.
Yeah, he's based in India, and he was saying like when he was young and like all of his friends had just gotten the internet and were like learning how to download porn and all this, he was busy finding ways to download distortion circuits and like schematics. Like that was his jam. So that's what he's been doing for like the last few years, and now like he's going the modular route. And I was like, I could definitely support this dude. Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
He seems to be on the level of a very similar mindset, of like where I like to take my shit, musically. And so far I got 2 modules of his, the Coma Delay and the Pit Viper distortion. Both of these I just got very recently. Haven't had a chance to dive into them too much. But like the Pit Viper, it kind of reminds me of like an Optodist on steroids.
Okay.
Like
how's it different?
A lot of different tones. I think there's like I don't know for certain if it's LED based. I think it is. It sounds like it is, and there's definitely some things lighting up inside the panel when I look. So I'm pretty sure it's like opto based. But yeah, there's just so many different ways like that he has in there to get different tones and different like just saturation levels. You can almost get lost in it. You know what I mean? Like every knob you turn or knob you hit can interact with something else in a different way. You know what I mean? So a lot of versatility to it, which is what I'm all about when it comes to distortion. I don't like one-trick ponies. That's
Sure.
Right, no.
That's why I don't have an Optodist anymore. You know what I mean? Like even that, I was like, okay, this sounds good, but it's too one flavor.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the Pit Viper is one of his oldest designs. The stuff that he's built since then has like a lot more range and weird ways that it can just shred audio. The one that I just pre-ordered, it's called the God Eater, and it's more made for like bassy tones, like for bass guitar, bass synths. Yeah, and it's got some weird low end to it. It's supposed to be able to like mangle the shit out of stuff, but retain low frequency. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, hell yeah. So that is on pre-order now. That should ship out mid-December, he said. So I'm very excited to get that one.
Is that based on a pedal that already exists?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now it'll have all the CV.
But you've been able to like hear demos of the pedal to get an idea of what it does.
Yeah, that was one of the things that he demoed in the workshop demo that I watched. Going back and forth with him too, he was telling me some of this stuff. I kind of got into some email communications with him when I placed the order for the Coma Delay. He kind of replied back. He goes, "How did someone find out about a little pedal shop all the way over here in India?" And I was like, "It's been a strange journey, dude. How I've ended up finding out who you are." I said, "I'd like to order pretty much everything that you have available at this point." So that's on pre-order. The other one, he released last year, like with the Pit Viper, but he's decided he wants to add more functionality to it and improve it. So he's taken like the original version is now out of stock. He kind of makes these tweaks. He hasn't given me an ETA on one. That'll be complete, but once it is, I'm likely going to order that as well right off the bat.
Nice.
Did
he say what those new tweaks are going to be?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but he said he just wanted to improve it. So I'm into that. the more I guess options he puts into it in different flavors, the happier I'll be for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't found any other distortions like that in Euro so far that have seemed so like geared towards noise and industrial. You know what I mean? A lot of them just seemed like your standard types of distortion or one flavor of it. You know what I mean? Not really something you can explore. I like the fact that he seems to be making circuits that are meant to be deep dived,
Yeah.
Do you see there is a new Tool Scorn kit that's coming out next year, and it's like a dual distortion module. They have a preview on Thonk, and it was just put on there in like the past 2 days or something like that. But looked intriguing. Samples sounded good. They had some posted. But
I did not.
Yeah, you might want to check it out, but
I will.
Yeah.
like, because I'm still trying to build out like my network. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and the Animal Factory stuff is definitely going to be a key player in that. But it's probably not going to stop there either.
Do you have to get these directly from him? Is there any distro for this stuff?
Perfect Circuit carries some of the pedals and the 2 modules that are out right now, but they're all out of stock. It all says like arriving soon.
I think they say that for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the only place stateside that I've found so far that carries their stuff. So I just ordered directly from him, and it arrived pretty quickly. It was like within 3 days via FedEx. I was real surprised. I was like, holy shit, that got here already. I was expecting it to take like weeks, like when I order something from like Erica Synths or whatever, it takes usually at least a week, to travel across seas.
yeah, Bugbrand's always a week at best, because it's UK and customs.
But you saw the packaging too, like the boxes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
They're like solid black, nice logo on the front. They're magnetically sealed.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll like, snap shut when you close it. I was like, that is a nice touch, So like everything about them so far just kind of like screams, my name. It's got my attention. I'm like, everything from like his aesthetics to his philosophies to the sound of the model so far. I'm like, it's a shame he's all the way in India. He's the type of dude I feel like I could just like chill in a coffee shop with all day and just shoot the shit and talk about fucking distortion with,
Right. Did the Pit Viper come with an actual Pit Viper?
It slipped out. It's roaming around here somewhere.
Sure, we'll
Deadly
find it.
asp.
It's very dangerous.
Been making friends with my cat. So I feel like we would be not doing our jobs as
Informers of the public.
Yeah, as important synthesizer journalists in the.
Ooh.
If we did not mention Behringer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think we had on the list here to talk about a couple of the new things. It might almost be easier at this point to release what they're not cloning.
Yeah.
Because the list is getting insane and it's like impossible to keep track of.
The Wasp videos dropped today or yesterday.
Yeah. They dropped the videos of the Wasp. I was still kind of reeling from the TD3 and the Bro 1 announcements.
Like when I saw the Wasp, I was like, oh, is this a joke? Because almost seemed like it was self-referential. Like, we're just fucking cloning everything.
Yeah.
And I was like,
nothing's safe. Hide your children. Hide your wife.
$150 TD3 though.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous for a full analog thing. And they even like cloned the DS1 and put it in there too, just to, like poke the bear a little bit more.
Yeah. It didn't sound not like a 303. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, okay, that's convincing. It's not identical.
Yeah.
But for $150, who fucking cares?
It's not going to be like a DIN-Sync RE303, which is like pretty meticulously done. But
sure.
It's going to be that sound basically.
Right. It's not a 1-to-1 clone. It's not a blown out version like an Avalon. It's your cheapo $150. I want to make close enough acid. You know what I mean? Like
that's what pisses me off about it in a way is like, why not clone the fucking devilfish?
Yeah.
If you're
With
going
all
to
the
clone
mods,
it, you've got ultimate flexibility at that point. CV and all the mods and like the filter attack and like all that shit. Just do it.
And like $150, okay, that's amazing and astounding. Dude, if you added all of the shit and it was $250, that would still be insane.
Yeah.
Like that would be like a no-brainer purchase with all of that shit in it.
Yeah, 'cause the two that I like the least are the Bro one and
Yeah.
the Moog clone, just because like maybe Dave Smith was gonna put out his own Pro one clone.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
Roland shit, like fuck them. They're doing like they're off an MC707 land and making like super tiny versions. If you
Yeah.
can make like a normal 808, and the people I know that have that are like, yeah, it's fucking great. Like there are cool features on it. Like I'm down. That's awesome. It's affordable. Like they did what Roland should have done in a lot of ways.
And the Wasp is another good example of that. Like people have been cloning the filter on it for a while now. Like that's not been hard to find, or even people have been doing that for. But they actually have the full functioning, as it was Wasp clone. You're not taking food out of anyone's mouth at this point.
Doper did it with the filters,
Yeah.
and other people have cloned other Wasp shit. There's the Jasper DIY
Yeah,
clone. So
yeah.
that's the one that's like,
I've been
if they're
seeing
gonna
a
do
lot
it-
of those kits popping up
Oh,
for
yeah.
sale now.
Exactly.
Everyone's like doing a dump.
But no, I think like if you're gonna do this, dig deep. What was the
Monopoly.
Monopoly is the other
Yeah.
one. Like to me, that's very exciting because that has been. I use the Core Legacy
Same.
software one, and I seriously use the shit out of it.
Filter rules.
But the actual hardware has just been that is not.
It's so expensive.
It's so expensive, and it's probably a pain in the ass to maintain. But the sound of it's amazing. If they can pull that one off, fuck.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I was actually tempted the most by the Burrow one, and it was like the one that was kind of making me
Yeah.
feel the most guilty too. Because the same thing, I was like, man, like what did Dave Smith put out? His own, But then I remember, like he kind of did. You know what I mean? He had the
Yeah.
Pro 2 exists
Yeah.
and things like that, and like
He's not going to do it.
right, he's not gonna do a true like retro. Flashback.
He's moved
version.
on.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing
true.
bigger, better things. So like, if Behringer is picking up that ball and running with it, and so be it. But and it sounded good. You know what I mean?
does.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I really wanted it to not. Like I was listening to the demos, I was like, oh yeah, please sound like shit, because they're like 101 clone does not sound like a 101 to me.
Not to
You know
me.
what I mean? Like I had no interest in buying it once I heard that. The Bro one, I listened to it and I was like, oh fuck. It was like that kind of nails it. You know what I mean? And it's cheap. And you can slap it in your Euro rack.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, this is tempting.
Get that shit for like $250.
Yeah.
So who's it gonna be? One of us has to do this.
What's it?
One of us is gonna get one of these Behringer synths. Who's gonna do it?
I mean, I don't know.
It's gonna be you, Craig.
Probably.
Let's just accept.
I don't have the rack space right now since I've been like kind of consolidating that. I mean, I could probably put it over there. I don't know, man. Like I kind of want it, but at the same time, I'm like,
Do you like the MS-20 shit that they did, or do you think that doesn't sound right?
I have two different opinions on that. I think it sounds close enough, but it's kind of like you were saying, like, why didn't they clone the Devilfish? I feel the same way about the MS-20. I'm like, why didn't they do the version that is like more blown out with some of the mods? You know what I mean? All that, like, the better version. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they even have to be innovative. Like, clearly Behringer's not trying to innovate here. They're not pushing any envelope. They're not adding anything new to these things, really. They're just taking pre-existing things and packaging them for a modern market. But like, if you're just going to do that, why don't you clone the versions that like have already been considered like the successors to the originals? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's one thing I like about the RD808 is for the clap circuit, they have the ability to turn the white noise off, which my 808 only does when you turn it on, and for a few minutes it fucks up and the circuitry for the white noise doesn't connect.
Yeah.
But it's the greatest clap sound ever. And then when you turn the reverb on, or the white noise quote unquote reverb, it's like, okay. And they have a knob for it.
Could you just actually modify yours to starve that?
I just won't.
Yeah,
I won't
yeah.
modify
Yeah,
it.
that'd be
But
kind of sacrilegious, man.
it would be great. Like, I would love it if it turned out all the PCBs and the Behringer stuff had like patch points.
Yeah,
like,
that
well,
would
we
be
built
awesome.
this so you can hack it. Then I'd be like, you're fucking
Holy
great.
fuck, yeah.
That would be
people-
awesome.
Yeah.
Some people were saying that there is space in some of these. Like someone mentioned that the Bro one, there was like some space for some mods, and
But do they actually have
same with the 303.
the breakout buses, like on some of those? Like,
I'm
'cause,
not sure.
Like on those PCBs that are like designed to be hacked, they'll have like
Sure.
this pin has a breakout, and then you can actually just redo them as you want.
Right.
If they went that far ahead, where you had a through hole to actually, even
would
something
tip
as
me
sim-
over.
yeah, something as simple as
like the
starving a
MS
circuit.
like the MS-20
Yeah.
M did.
Yeah,
It had,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah. My hope is that these clones will drive down the prices on some of the originals,
Right.
and I could get myself an MS-20M, like the real one, and with the mods and everything.
I'm gonna throw something out there though. Some of that old shit is getting real hard to maintain.
Yeah,
I kind of want new shit.
yeah. But then you're putting a lot of trust into Behringer's
That's
quality
the thing.
control.
No, that's the thing. This is
true.
which is worse,
Right.
Behringer quality control or a 40-year-old circuit?
Right. Either way, you're probably going to get a year's worth of fun out of it.
Either way, I'm gonna have to open this up at some point and fix it. Yeah.
I'm right on the edge of 40 and I'm getting shitty.
That's true, man. Some of this shit's like older than us, if not as old. Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Maybe you guys.
So we covered all the new shit. The crossover, the Bionic Lester, Animal Factory, Voltage Lab, general shit. We had Behringer, Soma. Oh, the Superlative, if that's how you say it. Superlative, thank you.
It's all right.
All right, so how's that pronounced? Superlative.
Superlative. Yes.
Superlative.
Why are you doing?
What is-
Why
what
are
does
you
that
doing your
mean?
head like that?
Because I'm trying to drill it into my brain. Superlative.
Yes.
What does that mean, Dave?
It's like a glowing adjective.
Yeah, like best
Yeah.
instead of better.
What a bunch of pretentious fucks.
Yeah. That's why I was using my lofty academic voice for that.
Superlative. That's kind of appropriate then, because it's kind of where I was going to go with this topic. Is like, you guys know my love for the 101.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Superlative Instruments have released a SB01, all black, modernized SH101 clone.
Thin as fuck.
Thin as fuck,
Yeah.
sleek, amazing looking. It looks like my Dream 101, but I didn't back the Kickstarter because I have zero fucking faith in these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing on their entire campaign that has given me like any confidence in them.
This is their first project.
They've done nothing else
Yeah.
leading up to this. So I wanted to do some research into them. You know what I mean? I was like,
Because
okay,
there was videos of them at different conventions.
Sure.
Or them. It may just be that guy.
right.
Like he's talked. He's like you. Like he exists. This is not entirely vaporware or anything.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
Or is it?
it kind of feels like it. Like they've met their goal. Like they met it within the first week. And they've exceeded it now by far. I think today is the last day as of this recording for their Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
But like he was talking at certain conventions and things like that, and he never really gave any insight into like them as a company or why they're even doing this, you know what I mean, or like what they hope this is bringing to the table. It just kind of felt like a Behringer Jr. to me. Like they're just cloning an instrument, you know what I mean, and they're putting it in a sleeker case. So I did some digging, and I found this article that the dude behind it did with like some financial people, and was like saying basically like he just wants to be a startup guy, and he figured that vintage synthesizers would be a niche that he could corner.
Like this dude's just like totally faking it.
Yeah,
I saw a gap in the market.
exactly. And like reading the article, I was like, okay, that is kind of what I had suspected from the start. And he's saying he was like struggling to find investors in this vintage synthesizer concept that he was putting out there. So he eventually took it to Kickstarter and made some fancy looking videos. Like I even showed it to Cyrus, and Cyrus is all about like marketing,
Aesthetic.
And he got back to me within minutes. He was like, these guys are really good at making a marketing video. I was like, right. He was like, but that's like all it looks like. I said, right. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I'd trust that. I said, that was my vibe. I said, that's why I sent this to you. And I didn't even say anything. I didn't put it in that context. I just wanted to see his response. And he came back at me with that. I was like, okay, I'm glad to know that I'm not like, off base here and thinking that.
It's like $900, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Which is
Not cheap.
not cheap, but
Yeah.
a good. But you're gonna pay a lot more for a real 101.
Sure.
Well,
Well,
a bit more.
for a working one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really offer anything new over the classic, except that it has an onboard battery. You can take it anywhere. You don't need to plug it in. And that's another issue. You know what I mean? Like irreplaceable batteries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I thought there was something USB on it too.
that's the power.
Oh, it's just power. It's not like
So many
MIDI.
people do that now.
Yeah.
That deluge.
It might be able to do some stuff through USB. I just know that that's its source of power.
Okay.
You know, it's been a minute since I looked at the campaign. It was just something that I wanted to bring up because, like, within a week, he had over 400K.
Holy shit.
I think it was 400. It was either 40 or 400.
Right, but it's still
It was a big number.
for a company. We may have talked about this in the past with like Kickstarter, but like to give someone who has no history, no one's really that familiar with even who the dude is.
Right.
Like he hasn't. Like you need to deliver on something to show that you know how to manufacture something on any kind of scale.
Yes. He could have literally bought a 101, gutted it, made a case.
Yeah.
Put the hardware in there and said, like,
Yep.
cool, I got this prototype. And actually, it's just knowing that when he gets the 400K, he's like, I'll figure it out.
I didn't even entrust the demo videos. Like, there wasn't any video that I saw at the time when I looked at it where it wasn't going through an effects pedal. Most of the time, it was going through a Strymon pedal, the El Capistan, which has a very vintage sound anyways. So you could be running any shit oscillator through it and be like, listen to that vintage sound. Right. You know what I mean?
There could just be nothing but an iPhone.
Yeah.
Under that hood, and it's just a recording.
It just seemed like, it almost seemed like fake, you know, all the way through. Like, maybe that concept model is actually functioning. Maybe it's not. Who the fuck knows? There's not enough info or videos or any track record of these guys, you know? So I found the risks section.
What does he say about the risks?
Say, we've been developing the SB01 over the last 2 years through 6 major prototypes with a commitment to quality and reliability. Blah, blah, blah. We are confident our synthesizer can be manufactured to the highest standards and begin shipping to our backers early next summer.
Pillow talk.
It says built to scale, ready to go. That's it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing in here that gives me the warm and fuzzies. Like, I don't know.
There's a lot of people that are still really burned about the Fluxus.
Yeah. I was just going to bring it up because I was one of those people. You had one at one point.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'll say for whatever with the Voltage Lab, like they shipped and it works.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a big difference there. And the MIDI in on the Fluxus one still doesn't do MIDI in recording. It just doesn't. Like, there are huge gaps on that thing.
I didn't back the Pittsburgh Modular thing, but if they did put something out there that was appealing to me and I was like interested in it, at no point would I ever think, oh, I wonder if they're going to get it done.
Right.
You know if they're going to get it done.
Yeah. The superlative thing, it's like, it doesn't, like, compare their Kickstarter to, like, Paul's. You know what I mean? Paul has a track record. Yeah. He explains everything. Like, that is something, even if I wasn't familiar with, like, synthesis technology as like a company, looking at his Kickstarter, like, it would give me confidence to back that if it was something that I wanted. Like, even if this goes off smoothly, like the whole Kickstarter thing, and everyone gets their product, what about quality control? You know what I mean? Like, who knows if this thing will actually be worth $800 some, or if it's going to be Behringer level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's my main doubt with the Behringer stuff. Is a $150 synth going to last more than a couple years?
Right.
Maybe it will.
Yeah.
I don't know. Manufacturing processes are different now. That's just cheaper. They've got the economies of scale for sure. My Midas mixer that they help produce is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. There's still something to be said for that cheap. Mm-hmm. I think they've crossed the line into being suspiciously cheap.
And they're still making profit off $150 303, like with a software editor front end. Like,
yeah, I mean, now you're talking about like, I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but like that's the type of like cost and expected quality you associate with like IKEA.
Exactly.
I actually don't even trust their tables that much. I got like an IKEA table. Actually, I think it's this one.
Yeah.
These are, yeah,
You can hear how hollow and shitty these are through the microphone just by tapping on it. Yeah.
I told you, like, I cut one of these
because it's just cardboard inside.
It's hollow. It is hollow.
Oh,
it's corrugated, like weird angular cardboard, and it's sturdy. Like it gives a very strong simulation of wood or wood-like substance. But when I cut it, I think I dramatically reduced its what's it called? Strength.
Yeah.
And
it's load bearing.
It's load bearing. It is definitely going to collapse.
It's like those Instagram videos where they cut like a chair apart and put like a piece of corn to patch it and they paint over it and sand it.
Fix your toilet with ramen.
Ramen, exactly.
Oddly enough, I heard that's what's inside the SB0101.
Yeah.
Or 01. The circuits are just fused together with ramen.